Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a necklace and a pair of earrings today, and I'm going to use some of the beads and bindings that came in the December 2024 bargain bead box called Glacial Glimmer. I know I'm late because a couple of videos ago I already unboxed the January box, but I just never got around to doing anything with this box, and I wanted to, so that's what I'm doing today. I have a coupon code for the bargain bead box. It's Teresa2, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below, along with a link to the page to sign up for the subscription if you're interested. The coupon will save you $2 off your first box if you sign up. In here I have the blue lace agate chip beads that came in the box. In here I have the 8x10mm English cut crystal rondelle beads that came in the box. In here I have the 8mm Malaysia jade dyed quartz beads that came in the box. I have the bead caps that came in the box. I have some bindings in here. I have two of the links that came in the box, a lobster clasp, some 6mm jump rings, one 8mm jump ring, two wire guardians, two 2x2 crimp tubes, and two crimp covers. I have a couple of pieces of the chain that came in the box, and then I have another piece of chain from my stash that has bigger links that I'm going to use as an extender. And I have a ball head pin, and I had this little snowflake charm in my stash that I'm going to use to hang off the extender chain as a dangle. I think that's everything that's in there. For my earrings, I'll be using two of the English cut beads, two of the 8mm Malaysian jade beads, and two of the charms that came in the box, some of the bead caps, and a couple of ear wires, fishhook ear wires. I think that's everything that's in there. I'm going to be using some 11/0 silver seed beads, and I'll be using got my bead stopper. I'll be using my soft flex beading wire in fine. This is 21 strand, and it's the color is silver. I'll be using all of my jewelry tools because part of this is going to be strung and part of it I'm going to do some wire wrapped links. So I'll be using all of my jewelry tools. I think that's everything. I'll try to find links and put links to everything I can find in the description box below. Of course, everything that didn't come in the box. I think that's everything. So hold on, I'll get some of this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and string up the strung part of it. And then so y'all don't have to wait while I'm doing that. And then when I come back, I'll show you what my pattern was and I'll crimp it. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got the strung part done now. And I have got 11/0 seed beads between all the beads except these chip beads. I've got 3 chip beads in each section, and I don't have 11/0s between them, but I do on either side of them. And I've started with one of the 8mm beads, and then 3 chip beads, one of the English cut beads, 3 chip beads, an English cut bead, 3 chip beads, an English cut bead, 3 chip beads, and then an 8mm bead with bead caps around it. The reason I didn't put bead caps around these on the end is because the holes in these bead caps are pretty big, and they swallow up my crimp tube when I try to crimp. So I left them off the end there. And then this is my focal part. I've got 6 sections of the chip beads and 5 of the English cut beads. And then on the other side I have the same thing that I do on this side. So now I'm going to crimp. I'm going to take my crimp tube and my wire guardian. Go down the other channel of my wire guardian, back into my crimp tube. I'm going to make sure to hold my wires apart so they're not crossed in there. Take my crimping pliers, use that part with the tooth, and lay the tooth on top of my crimp tube. Squeeze. That makes that little dent in there and puts each wire in its own little channel. Now I'm going to use these crimping pliers to fold my crimp. You can use these, but I just prefer these, the two little circles on the half circles on the end there. I'm going to lay my crimp in there, crimp tube in there, squeeze. Give it a good tight squeeze. And now I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. And now I'm going to push all this down and crimp my other side, but I'm going to have to get another crimp tube out because I don't know where the one I had was. It's disappeared. So hold on, I'll get another crimp tube. Okay, I've got another crimp tube now, and I've pushed all this down, and I'm going to cut it off my spool. Now I'm going to take my crimp tube and put it on here. My other wire guardian. Go down the other channel of my wire guardian. Back into the crimp tube. And I like to try to go through a bead on this side to get my hands out of the way and center my wire guardian over the last bead. I'll hold on to the wire guardian and pull my wire through. I'm going to make sure that there's no slack in my piece, but I don't want it to be too tight either. So now I'm going to crimp this side. Take my pliers and lay the tooth on top of my crimp tube and squeeze. Now I'm going to get my other crimping pliers and fold my crimp. A good tight squeeze. Tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut off my extra wire. Well, now I'm going to get my crimp covers to put them on. This is my least favorite part because I'm not very good at this, but hold on, I'll get my crimp covers. Okay, I'm going to put my crimp cover on now. I've already put one of them on, so I'm going to put the other side on. So I'm going to lay my crimp cover over top of my crimp tube. I can get it on there. There we go. Well, I had it on there. There we go. Now I'm going to take my crimp cover closing pliers and start to close it. I always like to close it enough that I don't have to hold it. And now I just go back and forth. I do side to side and then front to back to try to keep that round shape. Although I never do get it in a really good round shape. Back and forth until I get it closed all the way. Okay, I think that's as good as I'm going to do. So there's the strung part, and now I'm going to put my links here, and then on this side of my links I'm going to do some wire wrapped links. So I'll get my wire and my other beads and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to make some wire wrap links now. I've got one side of this is what I'm going to put on one side of my necklace. So I'm going to make another strip like this for the other side of my necklace. So I've got my 22 gauge German style wire here. I'm going to take my pliers, go down about an inch. These pieces of wire are a little over 3 inches. So I'm going to go down about an inch, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend around those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the pliers. Rotate the pliers until they're facing the table. Take the short piece of wire under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. like that. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. Wrap the short piece of wire around the long piece of wire 3 times. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. And I forgot when I showed my materials, my supplies, to show my little New Orleans shot glass that I put my wires in when I cut them off. He'd be mad at me for not showing him. I need to cut that off a little bit more. Now I'm going to put an 11-0 on here. And a bead cap. One of my 8mm beads. And a bead cap. And an 11-0. And the reason I'm putting these 11-0s on here is because the holes in these bead caps are pretty big and they swallow up my wraps down here if I don't put an 11-0 there to stop it. So that's just kind of a little stopper to keep it from swallowing up my wraps there. Now I'm going to take my pliers and go to the very tip of the pliers. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Around those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back till it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this part down. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. I want to make sure to get that first wrapping under the bottom of the loop and not over the top of the bottom of the loop. Just wrap until there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters. I use a different pair of cutters for craft wire and head pins and eye pins than I do for bead string and wire. I'm going to cut off my extra wire. I'm going to take my crimping pliers. I like to use these to tuck in my little burrs when I cut off wire, the little half circles at each end there. And it's really important to be careful when you do this when there's a little seed bead at the end like that, because it's really easy to crack that little seed bead when you're doing this. So you need to just really gently tuck in your little wire. Now I'm going to take another piece of my wire, go down about 1 inch, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, around those pliers facing me, bend the wire back till it hits the pliers, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, short piece of wire under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Now this time I'm going to open my loop and thread on my little link I've already made here, and then close my loop again. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. Wrap it around the long piece of wire 3 times. Take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. Now, take an 11-0, bead cap, 8mm bead, bead cap, and another 11-0. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, bend the wire over to 90-degree angle, I'll run those pliers in the crook of the bend. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. This part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. I bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. My other pair of bent chain those pliers and start to wrap. Just wrap until there's no more room to wrap. It should wrap around there 3 times. And I cut off an extra wire. Didn't cut that off enough. I need to cut that a little bit more. I'm going to take my crimping pliers and very gently tuck in my little burr. Okay, now I'm going to do that one more time. I'll make one more so I'll have it just like this strip. When I get that done, I'll come back and we'll put it all together. So I'll be back. Okay, I got my wire wrapped links made now. So now I'm going to put this all together. So I'm going to take a 6mm jump ring, and open it up and put on one of my links on one side of my necklace. Close my jump ring back really well. Do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take another 6mm jump ring. It on this end of my link. Attach my little chain of wire wrap links I made here. Close my jump ring back really well. Take another 6mm jump ring. Open it up, do the same thing on this side. Put this side on here. Close my jump ring back really well. So that's what I've got now, and I forgot to measure this. I was going to measure it and tell you all the measurements, so hold on, I'll measure it and I'll be back. Okay, I measured all of this and it came to 19.5 inches. This is going to be a little bit longer necklace than I usually make. So now I've got a couple of pieces of the chain that came in the box. They're about 3 inches each. And I'm going to take another jump ring, 6mm jump ring. Open it up and put my chain on here. And there's no magic reason why I decided 3 inches of chain. I just decided that's what I wanted to use. So that's 6 inches to 19. That'd be 25.5 inches. And then when I get my lobster clasp on there, that'll probably make it 26. And then I'll have a couple of inches of extender chains. Okay, now take another 6mm jump ring. Put it on this end. And put my lobster clasp on here. Close it back up really well. And now I have an 8mm jump ring that I'm going to put on here for my lobster to clasp onto. And then I have a little piece of extender chain that's, I think, about 2 inches long. Close that up really well. I didn't clip that onto the right thing. There we go. Now that's what I've got now. So now I'm going to get my head pin and my snowflake and make a little dangle. So hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I've got my ball head pin here. I'm going to put my little snowflake on here. And I'm going to take my pliers and go to the very tip of the pliers. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Around those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back till it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. I bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. Take my other pair of bent chain those pliers and start to wrap. Wrap till there's no more room to wrap. And take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burr. Now I'm going to take the last link of my extender chain here. Figure out which side has the slit. This one does. I'm going to open it up and thread on my little dangle. Close my link back. So there's my little dangle. There's my necklace. So hold on, I'll get my stuff to make a little earring. I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to make a little earring now. So take one of my pieces of 22 gauge wire, go down about 1 inch, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, around those pliers facing me, bend the wire back till it hits the tool, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool, kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Now I'm going to open my loop and thread on my little charm. Close my loop back. I'm going to take my bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Take this part down. Wrap this piece of wire, the short piece of wire, around the long piece of wire 3 times. And take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. I I keep not getting it cut off good enough today. Now I'm going to take my English cut bead, put it on here, take my pliers, go to the tip of the pliers, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the bead, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool, keep the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. I bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. I bent chain, or my other pair of bent chain those pliers and start to wrap. Wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire, my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. Take my other piece of wire, go down about an inch, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Keep the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Open my loop. Thread on this part of my earring that I've got made here. Close my loop back. Bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this part down. Wrap it around the long piece of wire 3 times. My cutters. Cut off my extra wire. I'm going to do an 11-0. Bead cap, one of my 8mm beads, bead cap, another 11-0. Straighten everything up here. Take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers. Doesn't seem to be as straight as I want it to be. Go to the very tip of the pliers. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Bend the wire back till it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Keep the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this part down. Another pair of bent chain those pliers and start to wrap. Wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs and be real careful not to crack my seed bead at the end there. Now I'm just going to open up my ear wire. And thread on my earring. Close my ear wire back. So there's my earring. So I'm going to make the other one off camera, and then when I come back I'll have it all laid out so we can look at it all together. So I'll be back. Okay, there's my necklace and pair of earrings made with some of the beads and bindings that came in the December 2024 bargain bead box called Glacial Glimmer. Like I said, if you're not subscribed to the bargain bead box and you decide you want to be, that coupon code will save you $2 off your first box if you sign up. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.